That's just people logging on.
Hey y'all, as you join, if you're not already muted, if you wouldn't mind just taking a minute and putting yourself on mute, that would be great. Thank you. Hi there, I know we've had some more folks join us. We're just going to give ourselves a couple more minutes until we get started at 8, but just a couple of housekeeping things. We've tried to mute everyone's microphone and video, but if for some reason you are able to turn yours on, if you will turn your video off and your mic on mute, just so that we can keep the screen clear for everybody to see the presentation. All right, it's 8 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Welcome to FindMe Foundation's first ever virtual fundraising ideas webinar. I'm Jessie Horn, Director of Communications and Marketing for the Foundation. And I just thought that this was such a great time to be able to bring us all together and share not only some great ideas from some chapters around the country, but also some best practices that a lot of our chapters have learned as they have pivoted on their fundraising strategy this year to still be able to provide support to so many of the local philanthropies that all of us have come to know and love. So like I said, because we've had to pivot so much this year, to be able to still provide that fundraising support to our favorite philanthropies, a lot of us have had to move towards either virtual fundraisers or socially distanced in-person fundraisers. So again, we just thought this would be a great opportunity to come together and share some ideas of what we've seen that's worked well so far. Just a couple of housekeeping things again before we get started. If you could mute your line and also turn off your video, that would be great, and that'll keep the screen clear for everybody on the line to be able to see the presentation. We're going to pause at the end to take questions, so you can either hold those until the very end, or if you want to go ahead and submit those to the chat, to the Zoom chat, I will go ahead and collect all of those at the end, and we'll have the opportunity to ask questions, or even if you have a best practice that you've done through your chapter or maybe another local organization that's had a successful virtual or socially distanced fundraiser, please feel free at the end to share all of that information. So let's see here. First, before we begin, I just wanted to take a few minutes. As I said earlier, I'm Jessie Horn with FindMe Foundation, and I wanted just to give you a little bit more of a baseline on FindMe Foundation for those of you who may either be new to FindMe, perhaps you just joined and you're helping your chapter with philanthropy, or maybe you're just getting involved with the philanthropic side of FIMU for the first time. So FIMU Foundation, while we work very closely with the fraternity, we are actually two separate legal entities. So the foundation is a tax-exempt nonprofit, or a 501c3. You may have heard that term before. And with that tax status, we are actually able to fundraise dollars to help invest into FIMU members in 4 key areas that you'll see here on the screen: leadership and education, academic scholarships, member assistance, and historic preservation. Those are the 4 key pillars of our mission. And you may have heard our motto, or perhaps you've seen it on some of the pink t-shirts that we highlight on social media if you're following us at FIMU Foundation on social media, which is Sisters Helping Sisters. And that's really, at the end of the day, that's exactly who FIMU Foundation is, and that's what we do each and every day through the efforts that you see here on the screen. In fact, we're the only charity in the world that fundraises exclusively and invests in exclusively FIMU women. So that's something that's really important to us, and we want to be able to make sure that all of our members understand that FIMU Foundation is here to support you and your chapters through these 4 critical areas of support here. In fact, last year, the foundation invested more than $370,000 in these 4 areas, all of which directly benefit FIMU sisters just like you and me. So why is fundraising for FIMU Foundation important? And really, it's really the same for many of the same reasons that fundraising for any of your favorite philanthropies is important, whether that's Children's Miracle Network, or it's the local philanthropy maybe in the city or on your campus that's important to you. Except for when you're fundraising for FIMU Foundation, like I just said, you're actually contributing dollars that you know are going to positively impact women in your chapter, in your alumni networks, women just like you and me. And so that's why fundraising for the foundation is so important, and something that we want to make sure that every single one of our sisters is informed about and understands that when you are making a contribution to the foundation, you're directly invested in the woman who sits beside you every Sunday night at your chapter meetings, or every month when you're getting together for your alumni meetings on Zoom, that your dollars go right into investing in another FIMU woman's future. Throughout the year, the foundation has several fundraising campaigns, and some of those you may be pretty familiar with. We just wrapped up one of our more popular ones, 18 hours and 52 minutes of giving in October. And then the next one that we have coming up, you probably all have heard about at some point. It's our most popular campaign of the year, and also our largest annual fund campaign of the year, which is the M3 campaign. And if you are a philanthropy chair for a collegiate or even an alumni chapter, you're going to be hearing much more about the M3 campaign soon, but I wanted just to touch on it before we get into the fundraising information, just so everyone has some top line info about the campaign. This campaign is held each March to honor our 3 founders, hence why it's called M3, and FIMU's Founders Day. So it kicks off on March 1st and runs throughout the entire month of March. We have incredible support, especially over the last couple of years, from our collegiate and alumni chapters, that in fact, because the campaign runs in March, it used to be that chapters really focused their fundraising efforts during the month of March. But as this campaign has grown over the last couple of years, we've actually been working with chapters who fundraise from the beginning of the year through March. Some of them even fundraise both semesters for M3 because they are striving to be that top contributing chapter for the campaign. So we're hopeful that if some of you philanthropy chairs that are on the line tonight, if M3 is already on your radar and you're thinking about what your chapter's fundraising plan could be, that you'll be able to take away some helpful tips tonight, and maybe even some great ideas that you may be able to replicate in your chapter and on your campus, either virtually or socially distanced in person. For you philanthropy chairs, and maybe if there's some treasurers on the line tonight, we'll be having another webinar in January after the holiday break to go through all of the specifics of the M3 campaign, including fundraising and remittance and all of that good stuff. So save the date, collegiate philanthropy chairs and treasurers, for January 27th. That is going to be the M3 webinar for our collegiate chapters. And for alumni chapter leaders, our alumni webinar is going to be on January 28th. And again, those will be webinars where we get a little bit more into the specifics of the M3 campaign. And of course, I'd be remiss to talk about the M3 campaign and not mention one of my favorite elements of the campaign, which is our incentives. These are our pink tees here that you see on the screen that have become pretty popular over the last couple of years. These are the incentives that we offer each year to our collegiate chapters who contribute to the campaign at 100%. So if your chapter contributes to the M3 campaign at 100%, that means that each active member of your chapter has made either an individual contribution to the foundation of $18.52, or your chapter has fundraised the equivalent of $18.52 per member to make a total contribution to the M3 campaign. So every chapter that participates at that level receives a free Find Me Foundation t-shirt for you to wear. We do our very best to get those to everybody before the spring semester ends. We ran into a little bit of a delay this year with COVID, of course, but as of today, I believe that all chapters have either received their pink tees or they are en route to you now. So if your chapter still has not received your tees, or if you have questions about that, you can definitely email me after or send me a chat. And I'll be able to talk offline one-on-one with you and see if we can get those t-shirts expedited to you. But this is one of my favorite elements of the campaign, only because for chapters that really hustle to get that $18.52 contribution from their members or fundraise the equivalent, this is just a really nice way for us to be able to say thank you and provide you with something that you can either wear maybe during your recruitment week on philanthropy night and talk about your contributions to the foundation, wear for sisterhood events. It just is a nice way for us to say thank you. And we have had such great feedback from the chapters on these t-shirts, and we know that you love them as well. So this will be another exciting part of the 2021 campaign. And we hope that all of you will be striving with us to hit that 100% mark. And we look forward to working with you to help your chapter achieve that goal in 2021. Okay, so enough about the foundation. What I want to talk to you a little bit more now is a really great tool that is out there and available for you to be able to use to fundraise, really for any of your favorite philanthropies, but the foundation especially, you can use crowd change. A few years ago, the fraternity actually helped us launch this really fantastic fundraising tool. And so many of your chapters are already using this. I just took a quick screenshot of some of the foundation fundraisers that I was able to find on crowd change just over the last couple of weeks. So we're so thankful that we had this support on crowd change for the last couple of years, because frankly, because this was implemented before we had to pivot away from in-person fundraising, it's so fantastic that we already had this online tool available to our chapters to be able to use to support the foundation. So through crowd change, you can set up any type of fundraiser. You can sell tickets to an event, you can sell items, you could have a raffle like the one you see here where they were raffling off some Kendra Scott earrings. There are tons of different ways that you can leverage crowd change to be able to host a virtual fundraiser for your chapter. Chapter members can even set up their own individual fundraising pages from the chapter's fundraising page, and this really helps every single member in the chapter to be able to get engaged and have some accountability and responsibility to help promote the fundraiser for the chapter. So while this crowd change is a fairly common tool, like I said earlier with our collegiate chapters, I believe for our alumni chapter leaders, this will be fairly new to you, because I don't believe that alumni chapters have been using crowd change to promote any kind of fundraising prior to this. I could be wrong on that, so please let me know if I am. But this is why we wanted to pause here and make sure that crowd change was on your radar as well. Because if you are an alumni chapter and you would like to host a virtual fundraiser for the foundation through crowd change, if you want to reach out to us, we'd be happy to help you get that set up, give you a quick tutorial. We've actually created a couple of videos that we've been able to do on crowd change so that you can get familiar with how to build out your chapter fundraising pages and use this to really create an opportunity for your chapter members to rally around a virtual fundraising opportunity. So if that is the case for your alumni chapter and you would like support, please let us know and we'd be happy to get you set up on that. Next, here are some really fantastic virtual fundraising ideas that we've seen around. Most of these actually come from a super resource that the fraternity has put together, and maybe some of you have seen of virtual fundraising ideas. And these are all available on the FIMU Resource Hub under the Philanthropy tab. If you'd like to go back and look at this document more in depth, I just picked out a couple that I thought were interesting or that I've seen on social media just to talk about tonight a little bit more. So some of my favorites have been online bingo. Bingo is such a blast from the past game. I don't know if a lot of you still play bingo. It's one of my favorites. And it's something that a lot of nonprofits have been able to jump on board with, hosting these Zoom bingo games. And they're finding ways to make it really interactive, playing music, stopping in between games to have raffles. And it's usually hosted by an MC or a couple of MCs together. I've seen some campuses that offer up the MC opportunity to, say, a campus celebrity. Perhaps you have a professor that's really popular on campus or a campus leader that is really well known in your community. You could reach out to them and see if they'd be willing to MC your virtual bingo game to help raise money for the foundation or for whatever philanthropy that you're looking to do an online bingo fundraiser for. So I always think that one's a really fun one. And that's really what you do, is just set an admission rate that includes one card. And perhaps you could sell paper cards, and you could either drop them in the mail to the folks who purchase them, or you could have a socially distanced pickup where they could come and pick up their bingo card. And you could also, you know, the admission rate maybe includes one card, and then you could sell additional cards to generate some additional revenue. Or you could even send them a printable bingo card, frankly, and that would be absolutely touchless. So there's tons of different ways that you could leverage an idea like a virtual bingo game. Next is an online auction. I hope that some of you had the opportunity this summer during FIMU's virtual convention to participate in the Foundation's virtual sisterhood auction. This was a really great opportunity for us to still provide those items that we would have had on silent auction in person at convention, but we were able to post photos on our online auction platform and give the opportunity for not only FIMU women that would have been at convention to participate, but any FIMU member that had the link to our online auction was able to view the items and bid on the items, and it was incredibly successful. We were a little bit nervous about a 100% virtual silent auction, but I think I speak on behalf of the entire foundation staff when we say we are so glad that we did it, because we had such great engagement with the items and so many generous donors who supported us in getting some of those fantastic items. If you are interested in doing something like an online auction, I would recommend looking into a resource at 32auctions.com. And that is, while that's not the platform that the foundation used for the online auction this year, it is a platform that's available that offers limited free support for online auctions for nonprofits. So if your chapter would like to host an online auction for FIMU Foundation, you can always reach out to us, reach out to our staff, you can reach out to me, and we can help you get our tax ID so that you can secure that online software for a free or reduced price so that you can host an online auction if that's something that you're interested in. And again, that's 32auctions.com if you wanted to check that out. The next one is one of my favorites just because I think it visually makes such a cool optic for social media and promotions, and that is the Rubber Duck Derby. If you've never seen one of these, it's a really cool idea. You can sell the little yellow rubber ducks for a couple dollars each, and then you label each one with the name of the person who purchased it. And so if I bought a rubber duck, on the bottom of my rubber duck, it would say Jesse Horn. And then the FIMU chapter would line up all of the rubber ducks that they sold on one of those big blue giant tarps, you know, covered in soap and water and all that good stuff. And then you could line up socially distanced and with water hoses and help the ducks swim down the tarp, and the first one to the end of the tarp wins. So it's kind of like a duck derby for little rubber duckies. So that was something that I thought was fun. I've seen a couple of schools actually in my local area who have done this in a socially distanced way, and it just made for a cool opportunity. You could also try the good old-fashioned, tried and true, and we know it works, email or letter writing campaign. to try to raise funds for your local philanthropy or FAMU Foundation. Get a list of all of your chapter alumni or all of the alumni who live in your area where your alumni chapter is, and write letters. Tell them about the foundation. Tell them why it's important for your chapter to raise money for the M3 campaign, and ask them to either send in a check or share your crowd change link with them. If you're sending out emails, especially if you wanted to send an email blast to all of your chapter alumni and say, hey, we're doing this fantastic fundraiser for the foundation's M3 campaign on crowd change. We'd love for you to support our efforts and participate. It's such a great way to not only circulate the information fast, but it's at a super low cost, probably minimal or nothing, for you just to send out emails to your local alumni and ask for their support. So that's just a good old tried and true one that we've seen work many times over the years. Even without virtual fundraising, we know that that's something that's successful for many chapters. Okay, so now we're going to move on, and I'm going to open it up to some of our panelists that are joining us tonight from some chapters from across the country who have had successful either virtual or socially distanced in-person fundraisers. So I am going to hand it over to Elena from Kappa Mu at Georgia Southern University to talk to you a little bit more about her Milkshakes for Miracle fundraiser.
Hey y'all, my name's Alina, like Jesse said, and I am from Kappa Mu at Georgia Southern University. I'm so excited to get the opportunity to speak to y'all tonight about one of our events that we've had in the past. We actually had this in October that worked really, really well for our campus, especially because we have not been able to have in-person events at all. So one thing that we found out with our Milkshakes for Miracles, we took a page from the Chick-fil-A drive-thru specifically, and we were able to have just my committee, which was a group of 20 girls, come to the house and socially distance and make milkshakes with masks. And we had gloves on, and we put the milkshakes into a kind of plastic tub, and then we sent girls to the cars with masks on and had them transfer the cup to the person. Well, the person grabbed the cup out of the plastic tub, but it was a no contact because we had gloves, we were wearing masks, the girls were social distanced. This fundraiser went really, really well. We had it last year, and in person it was a lot of fun, and we were really sad that we couldn't do it in person, but I think the drive-thru was a lot more efficient in terms of getting people in and out. Granted, we couldn't have that community aspect where we got to hang out and chat for a little bit, but it was a great way just to see everybody come together and support one of our favorite organizations, which is Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. But a couple of tips for any virtual fundraiser is using social media, we found, was one of our biggest things. With virtual fundraisers, social media really is your best friend, through graphics, posting your crowd change link on our Instagram, which not only increased our engagement on Instagram, but also increased our fundraising on crowd change. So that was a really, really cool way to see how we could maximize our efficiency with this virtual fundraiser. We also reached out to our local businesses to see if they would sponsor us, and we luckily got a few sponsors. We also had Ben & Jerry's from Savannah donate some ice cream, so we got to use that in our event, which maximized our efficiency and our ability to donate more, because we were minimizing the cost of the actual fundraiser. And then another thing that we are planning on using in our future event, which is the Surf Fidel, which is at the bottom, that's our spring event. That's our week-long event where fraternities compete. And so we are going to use the teams feature in crowd change to do a virtual penny wars. We are also planning on doing a virtual video game competition with the guys where you send out a code and they do the video game in a bracket style, and whoever wins moves to the next round. So that's going to be really cool, and I'm excited to see what our new philanthropy chair is going to do with that. But yeah, I think that's really all I have. And one other event, I noticed that Jesse put some cool fundraising ideas. We had the idea to do a drive-in movie theater at our football stadium. So that would be a really fun way to get a virtual fundraiser as well. But I will put my number in the chat, and if you'd like to chat about virtual fundraisers or ways that we have done things, I would love to talk to you. But anyways, that is all I have. Thank y'all for listening.
Elena, that was awesome. Thank you so much. That was actually a couple of really great ideas that anybody could really duplicate. Oh gosh, sorry y'all. I thought I had my cursor down. But really ideas that anybody could replicate. I love the movie idea. I look forward to hearing more about that. That sounds awesome. Next, we're going to turn it over to Meredith Wellhausen from Chicago West Suburban Alumni Chapter. The Chicago West Suburban Alumni Chapter is annually such a huge supporter of FindMe Foundation, and they always come in clutch with the most creative fundraising ideas. So I was so happy when I reached out to them that they agreed to come on board, and Meredith is representing them to tell you a little bit more about their virtual and in-person shopping event that they had. I think that was earlier this year, right, Meredith?
Yes, it was actually in early November. So,
awesome.
Yes.
All right, I'll hand it over to you.
So hi everyone, I'm Meredith Wellhausen. I'm the current president of the Chicago West Suburban Alumni Chapter. I think I have very large shoes to fill because we definitely have some women in the area who are quite major supporters. So we always love to find creative ways to support our Find You Foundation. So very much important for us. So for this event that we're kind of highlighting here, we've typically in the past done shopping event where everyone gets together for the holiday season. We would typically, pre-COVID, would grab lunch together, and then we'd all kind of scatter it and go shopping as a group or in our small groups. And we were able to pivot this year and reach out to multiple companies at a local, it's an outdoor mall. So I don't know, you can see with the plants there, but it's a mall that's definitely open air. So everyone was wearing masks, but definitely a lot of free air and, or I guess outside air there. And so we had reached out to multiple companies all throughout the mall, asking them in addition to supporting CMNH, but also if they were willing to give us an in-kind donation. We've really found that companies, if they're a little, like with COVID, a little bit tighter for maybe a monetary donation, they're a little bit more inclined to give us an in-kind donation. And then what we were doing, anyone that would shop at those locations and then get a little stamp, we would then enter them into a raffle. So it was an incentive for our ladies to get out there and go shopping. But then in addition to that, if people were not feeling comfortable getting out in person, which we totally understand, everyone has to find their own safety measures there. A lot of companies were giving us a code that we could use to either donate to CMNH or a discount code for different ladies. So I think the main things, if I was going to give advice, would be to just honestly talk with different companies. Like, I think my advice is just reach out to as many companies as possible and see what they're open for and ask for like different thinking outside the box. Can you give us in kind? Are you able to do it online? Do we need to come in for an entire week? That was something we had. So one of our stores, they said we would have, for the entire week, if somebody came in and mentioned FIMU, CWSA, then they could get the discount or they could donate there. So that was where we had some success for our November event this past year.
I love that. And again, something that so many of our chapters could duplicate in their areas. So this is really awesome. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks.
All right, next we are going to hand it over. My cursor is acting up today. We're going to hand it over to Hannah Osborne. Let me see, Hannah, if I can help you get unmuted here, from Georgia State University.
Hey guys.
And she's going, oh, good, perfect. That worked out great. And she's going to talk to us. Actually, they had an entire philanthropy week earlier this fall where they did tons of great socially distanced and virtual fundraisers. So Hannah, take it away.
Yeah, so hey guys, like she said, my name is Hannah Osborne. The last year I have served as the philanthropy chair for Theta Beta, which is at Georgia State. And on Tuesday, I actually just got elected as the new president, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting lots of good ideas already for what to do with my chapter, so thanks to you others. But yeah, so this fall we held a pretty much half virtual, half socially distanced philanthropy week. We actually decided to make a philanthropy Instagram separate from our GSU FIMU Instagram. We made one just for philanthropy in this philanthropy week fundraiser because, yeah, like we've been previously mentioned, social media is your best friend right now. And we found that making a separate Instagram for philanthropy was a fresh start, and all the followers from different organizations of Greek could like follow the page, and we gave them like points as incentives to like help each sorority or frat like rack up points to like win our week overall. But we were able to use the philanthropy Instagram to promote everything, and we had a crowd change link that was in our bio the whole week. So we also had a Venmo where we were able to collect donations and a crowd change link, and we were kind of just going crazy on social media trying to promote that to everybody. The socially distanced events we did have was a cornhole tournament. We found a park that was, you know, a lot of space, and we had sisters and a few of our friends across Greek offered to let us borrow their cornhole sets. So we had like 5 or 6 cornhole sets set up in this huge field, like spread out. Everyone was in mask and was super spread out. So it was able to happen right now. But also this was like such a successful fundraiser for us that we've decided already to make it an annual thing. Everyone loved it. It was super fun. People paid to sign up as a cornhole team. So 2 people were on a team and they paid an entry fee, and everyone wanted to do it. And it was kind of awesome. We were even able to collect donations as people were coming just to support their like teams. We were able to rack up a lot of money, and we also sold cookies and snacks that, you know, people were wearing masks and gloves, so everything was okay. But we were able to make this actually a very successful fundraiser for us. And cornhole's fun. Also, we held a virtual pumpkin carving contest, which sounds kind of weird, but we did it through our philanthropy Instagram. We, me and my committee reached out to everyone saying, okay, if you want to be part of this contest, let me know, send your money for a pumpkin by this day. And then I went to Kroger and literally bought 35 pumpkins and drove to just where our Greek housing is, and just me and one other person in mask like dropped off pumpkins to that organization or to that person's house. And then they were able to carve the pumpkin, and I set a date, okay, by like Friday night, I need all the pictures of the pumpkins. We put them all in our philanthropy Instagram, and then we let people from, you know, the chapters, like everyone go on and like the picture of the pumpkin, and then whoever got the most likes won the contest. So it was pretty fun just to use the philanthropy Instagram and then have it where people just like and share it to their friends, family, go like this. So it brought a lot of awareness to our philanthropy Instagram page, and the fact that we were fundraising for Children's Miracle Network hospitals, you know, with that donor drive link in the bio, plus they're just liking a picture of a pumpkin. But we were able to definitely exceed our goal and actually raise more than we ever have in our philanthropy week, with it being virtual. And I think it's really because of this Instagram.
That's fantastic. Would you mind sharing the philanthropy Instagram handle just in case anybody wanted to check it out and see how you marketed and promoted it?
Of course. I will type that in the chat in a second because I don't quite remember the name.
No, I didn't even put you on the spot. That would be perfect. Yeah.
I will definitely drop that in the chat. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was just a way to keep things like separate from our regular Instagram account.
Yeah, for sure.
But well, that's pretty much it. We had, one other thing that was honestly my favorite part. So we actually held a virtual donation drive for Children's Healthcare of Atlanta specifically, because that's, you know, my chapter's assigned like CMNH hospital. We utilized Amazon wish list I went in there and put a whole bunch of items. My contact at CHOA specifically said, hey, we really need Lego sets right now. And I said, okay. So I went on Amazon wish list and put a whole bunch of Lego sets in there, and then put the link. And through our philanthropy week, we were like giving incentives, like for points, you know, go buy an item on the Lego donation drive. And like we had over 150 people like buy Lego sets, and then I dropped them all off at the hospital, and they were like literally over the moon. Like I would have never thought to do something like this, but using Amazon wish list was actually really, really successful. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. But yeah, I will drop the philanthropy Instagram and my number in the chat. So if anyone would like to hear any more details, I would be more than happy to talk to you guys. But thank you for listening.
No, that's fantastic. And thank you all for being so open with being able to reach out and have others reach out to you. I think that's really one of the best ways that we can all learn how to make this shift toward virtual fundraising and socially distanced in-person fundraising a little bit easier on ourselves, is to reach out, use your resources, reach out to these women who have already been through this kind of first round of trying these types of fundraisers out. And I mean, I know that when I was in a collegiate chapter, that was one of my favorite things, was being able to connect with women in other chapters and share ideas. So I hope that you'll all take advantage of the fact that all three of these women have said, reach out. Let me know if there's anything that we can do to help. So I hope that you'll all take advantage of that. So thank you so much, Hannah and Meredith and Elena, for sharing all of your great insights. Let's see here. Sorry, y'all. My cursor is stuck on my new mouse, and it's caused a pain with advancing these slides. But as we wrap things up, just a couple of things to keep in mind. Of course, anytime that you are planning a fundraiser, please make sure that you're referring back to the fraternity's policies for philanthropy, and definitely abiding by your local safety regulations for in-person gatherings. The safety of our members and the health and wellness of our members and the other people on our campuses and in our communities is our first priority. So we definitely want to make sure that we're abiding by all of those policies and regulations when we're thinking about putting together our philanthropy and virtual fundraising plans. I think something that we've heard over and over, especially from our panelists tonight, is utilize those public relations and marketing resources in your chapter. If you have a woman who is dedicated to these efforts in your chapter, bring her on board during your planning stages and get her engaged so that she can also help to provide some of that PR and marketing support. Encourage the women in your chapter to get active in promoting your fundraisers on social media. I mean, I know just as the person who runs the foundation social media, this is how I stay connected to so many of you, is by seeing what you're posting on social media. And I know from a foundation's perspective, we love to be able to share that on our social media as well. So if you're hosting a fundraiser for FindU Foundation for the M3 campaign in 2021, tag us at FindU Foundation so that we can share and continue this domino effect of being able to share ideas and best practices amongst ourselves. You know, definitely building an inspirational case to support your cause. If we've talked about several philanthropies tonight, and I hope that we haven't confused anyone, but if you're whatever philanthropy you've selected, I hope that you will go back and truly reconnect and kind of refresh all of the members in your chapter on why you're fundraising for that cause. And if it's FindU Foundation, go back through this deck. Look at those 4 key areas of support. Visit our website at findufoundation.org and check out all of the different ways that we support FindU members. We've got tons of resources on our document library, flyers that are digitized that you could send out over email or you can make available socially distanced in person, that talk about what the money that we raise through campaigns like M3 goes to benefit, which is, again, those academic scholarships. Right now, shameless plug, the FindU Foundation scholarship application is live on our website, and that's for any collegiate or alumni woman who has a 3.2 GPA is eligible to apply for those academic scholarships. So the money that you are raising with the M3 campaign can help impact academic scholarships, leadership and education, things like speakers at the upcoming FindU Officer Academy that'll be happening in just less than a month. FindU Leadership Institute that's happened in years past. Our member assistance program, we've just helped 10 women who were affected by Hurricanes Laura and Sally in the Southeast this fall, who needed help getting back on their feet because their homes had suffered damage from the hurricane. And then historic preservation, you know, preserving our fraternity's history. Those are 4 big pillars of our mission that your fundraising dollars help to support. So it's important to make sure that your chapter understands the cause that you're supporting before you go out there with these fundraisers. Leverage crowd change. It's a really great tool. I think we've heard that too from both of our collegiate chapters. I know that Theta Beta, you were fundraising for CMN, so you were using Donor Drive, which is the preferred online tool for CMN. Crowd Change is the preferred virtual tool for the foundation, so both of those are available. Train your chapter members, get them to leverage that online platform as well. You can share those links with parents, friends, family, all around campus. It makes it so easy just to have a link to share, and then all of your contributions are in one main hub, which makes it really easy just to write that one check to FindMe Foundation or whichever philanthropy you're supporting. As I mentioned earlier, there's tons of resources available on the FindMe Resource Hub. If you just go under the Philanthropy tab, there's tons of information there. And if you wanted to check out the document library on the Foundation's website, again, that's findmefoundation.org. There's tons of information there as well. And save the date for more information on the M3 campaign to come in late January for those of you who are philanthropy chairs and philanthropy leaders and treasurers. So I'm going to take a minute to pause and check out the chat so that I can help answer any questions that y'all may have had. So just give me a second and I will get those questions pulled up and see. All right, if you have, if you wanted to check out the chat, there are some phone numbers and social media handles that are there. So make sure you jot those down before the webinar is over so that you can have those in your notes to be able to reach out to those women who have planned some of these fundraisers. Linda had a really fantastic question, and your question was, do they charge a fee? And I assume that you're talking about Crowd Change. Yes, there is a small percentage fee through Crowd Change to make your donation on there. And we've actually found, the foundation used Crowd Change this summer and for the Day of Giving most recently October. And the good news is that we find that most donors will actually cover the fee. So the good news is that frees up the your donations to go straight, the more donations to go straight to the charity. So that may even be one of your talking points when you're talking about your fundraisers online using Crowd Change, and encourage donors to cover that fee if they so choose, so that you can make sure that you're maximizing the contribution to the philanthropy. That was a great question. This webinar will be recorded. I'm going to go ahead and send this recording out to everybody who registered. So you'll have a copy of that, and then we will post a copy of the recording on the FindMe Foundation's website under the document library. Great question, Tiffany. Anyone else have a question or maybe a best practice or fundraising idea that you've done in your chapter that you'd like to share before we wrap things up? All right, well, thank you again so much for joining us. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can reach me at jhorn@findmu.org if you have anything, or if you just want to chat more about FindMe Foundation and virtual fundraising. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great night.